Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally very happy. I'm a happy boy today. I'm very excited as I'm finally reviewing the Five Nights at Freddy's Jazwares Endo series Withered action figures. Now a few weeks ago, if I'm not wrong, I uploaded my classic figures already. Yes, this is a part 2 to that. Sorry about taking so long to make this video. I needed to get some paints as during that 3-week period I actually decided I wanted to sort of custom paint some of these figures to make them look better, and I hope those 3 weeks was worth the wait. So yeah, Withered action figures. Oh my gosh, when the Fnaf 2 came out, I think it's been almost more than 10 years. And we're only now getting figures of the most popular band of characters from Fnaf 2, being the Withereds. That's crazy that it took about 10 years. Funko had the chance to make figures of these characters for a long time, but they decided, no, let's make more Fnaf AR characters. But then Jazwares got the license, and the first wave of figures they decide to release are the Withereds. Now, while these figures, I'm very happy to finally get figures of characters we all love in physical form after waiting 10 years, I would have to say, unfortunately, half of these figures are good, the other half are kind of underwhelming, if I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, let's go through the 4 characters that have been withered from Jazwares, being Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy. These are the only 4 Withereds we've gotten so far, including also Shadow Freddy, but that's not really a Withered, that's more of a hallucination. And we haven't gotten any news of Withered Golden Freddy or a classic Golden Freddy figure. So for now, this is it. And I'm happy they actually completed the core 4, but let's get into them now. So let's get into let's go into them via release on how they were released. The first one being Freddy and Bonnie, and let's go through. Let's go through Freddy first, being, in my opinion, a very damn good Freddy action figure. Now, first of all, I'm gonna tell you how I customized my own figure. For this Freddy, when it first came out, in my opinion, if you saw my first video, the classic Freddy wasn't really a brownish color, it was more of an orange-brown color, and I thought that was really an ugly color for them to choose to put onto Freddy. So this time, what I did with my Freddy, I just splashed him with brown, like watered down brown paint all over him. And then around the stomach, I used some like thinner, and I rubbed off some of the brown paint so that it looks like it's worn off and torn off. Yeah, it looks like, so basically it gives the idea that it's a worn down robot. And I think it really looks good because now the color looks brown, in my opinion, and it's not really much of an orange brown anymore. There are some certain spots which I think I didn't manage to get into, but I think for the most part it does look like a dark brown color, and I like that. So yeah, mainly what I did, just splashed it with watered down brown paint. If I'm not wrong, Citadel, I used specifically the Citadel Agrax Earth Shade, if I'm not wrong, for this. So yeah, use that if you want, splash it all over, then dry off the stomach area to give it this look, and I think it looks perfect. Now, in terms of model, I think this is very well done. There's nothing wrong with the model. This looks like Withered Freddy, in my opinion. However, the same issue comes to this as with the classic figures, where in my opinion, the eyes are the main thing that is not making them look scary at all. When if you look at the eyes, the blue part, the pupil, it's too big. To sort of make it slightly scary, I put the white pupils that some of the animatronics are known for, which the classics and the Withereds are known for. So yep, I put those there. But other than the eye issue, I think this is a perfect Withered Freddy figure. Now, of course, there is an issue where there's no wires coming out, but I think that's a bit of a hard sell to ask them, where they would need to like put like sculpt the wires in or put like bendable wires across there, and I think that's not really necessary. So yeah, overall I think Withered Freddy is a very good figure, and I am very happy with him. I think Withered Freddy, for the most part, other than the eyes and the coloration, out of the box is very good. However, unfortunately, that can't be said for my favorite Withered Bonnie. I think, in my opinion, Withered Bonnie is unfortunately the worst out of all the Withereds. Now, first of all, I'm gonna tell you what I custom painted on this. For the endo parts, like the arm, the leg, and even a bit on the head, I use Agrax Earth Shade on all of them, or you can just use a watered down brown color for the rusted look. And then over the arm, I just used like some permanent markers, just colored them in, called it a day. And then for the rest of the body, if you can see it's slightly blacker than usual, I just used Nuln oil from Citadel and just put it all over there. So yeah, that's about it. However, paint can't save this figure, as in my opinion, this is the worst looking of them all. And that is a shame, as Withered Bonnie is known to be the most fan favorite character out of all of the Withereds. Well, in my opinion, he's the best in my opinion. I love you, Withered Bonnie. But yeah, first of all, I'm going to point this out. They got the jaw completely wrong. The jaw does not look like this throughout any of the games, the movies, or anything. I don't know where they got this idea. So yeah, it's not a good look. And then second of all, the ears. Same with the classic Bonnie. They're very stiff. One guy in the comment in the first video said that they should have put joints on the ears, and I think they definitely should have done that. And that is definitely a good idea for them to have done that, but they didn't, unfortunately, now did they? So yeah, the ears are too stiff. And the last issue, the most criminal of them all. When I got this figure out of the box, and when you do get this figure out of the box, he has an upper jaw. Now, for any of you that know, Withered Bonnie does not have an upper jaw at all. Even on the endo face, he doesn't have that at all. And what makes this worse is recently they announced the jump scare the Fnaf Withered Freddy, no, not Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie figure, and that Bonnie too comes with an upper jaw when they could have removed it, but they didn't. So for some reason, Jazwares likes putting the upper jaw on specifically Withered Bonnie when that is inaccurate. That is completely inaccurate. So because of those three reasonings, the jaw being inaccurate, the ears being ugly as hell where they're just stiff, and them giving him an upper jaw from when you take him out of the box, I think this is the worst figure you've released, Jazwares. I'm sorry. I love your figures. On the most part, all of them, the jump scare figures are pretty good. The toy animatronics that you released, the classic animatronics are pretty good. And then the Withers, most of them are good if you customize them. But this is the worst that you've released. So yeah, I'm sorry to say, Withered Bonnie is the worst figure out of all of these. Now let's get on a better note, being Withered Chica. I think Withered Chica is the best out of all of these. First of all, I think she is the most accurate to her in-game counterpart out of all of them. The only part that is inaccurate is being the jaw here. It should have had wires from the top attaching to the bottom, but other than that, where I said for the first figure being Withered Freddy, I don't think it's necessary for them to put wires. I think other than that, she is perfect. Her model they did is perfect. Everything about her is perfect. The two arms, the damaging they've done onto it is beautiful. So yeah, I can't really say much about this because of how happy I am with this figure. So for this, the customization I did for this, I mainly made her look more like her Five Nights at Freddy's 2 counterpart, the movie version, where in the movie she has more like black markings around her eyes to make her look creepier, and I thought that was beautiful, so I did that. So mainly I just used known oil. I splattered all over the body again, but I mainly put more around the eyes to give it more of an emphasis, as you can see there. So yeah, Withered Chica, I can't say much as she's basically perfect in my eyes. Now next is a middle ground, and I think this is the third place of the family, being Withered Foxy. Withered Foxy, in my opinion, is, yeah, the middle ground of all of these figures, because it's a good model. I'm really admitting it is a good model. However, they could have made it perfect. But I understand why they didn't do it. So, as you can see, between all the Withered animatronics, they actually carved in the damages. However, for Withered Foxy, they did not. And the main reason for that being, UK sucks ass. Unfortunately, there's a law which doesn't allow them to carve in the parts, otherwise there would be sharp parts on Withered Foxy. So unfortunately, due to the UK, we have to settle for this. So yeah, so that part I'm not really mad at, because they put the blueprints there. You can just carve out the damages yourself if you wanted to, but yeah, it still doesn't ruin the look of the figure. I think it looks 100% accurate to the game also. I think it's a perfectly represented model of Withered Foxy. And yeah, it would have been nice for them to carve out the damages, but due to laws, unfortunately, I can't really get mad at Jazwares, so for this time, they get a pass. However, one thing they didn't get a pass for is when they decided not to carve in the damages, show the endo on the other side, they decided to put the endo pieces all over here, like the endo 2 pieces, but they decided to not color it in, which was a horrible decision, as basically like this entire piece here was just like a brown color, which gave me flashbacks to when Funko would just just paint like the damaged spots black and called it a day and said we don't need to put any endo pieces behind that. So yeah, it reminded me like that a lot. However, a simple solution to this was just coloring it in. So what I basically used for this, even at the back there was an endo piece that they didn't color it in. I just used any silver paint I could get from Citadel, just painted in all those parts, and there we go. It looks way better now. Now for the endo pieces, I used the Agrax Earthshade again, all over the legs, the hands, the hook, and the ear. And then for the rest of the body, I used known oil, splattered that all over. And then the chest, I used some thinner and I removed a bit of it so that it doesn't look too messy, the pattern on the chest. So yeah, my main issue with Withered Foxy was that they didn't give him enough paint applications. And while yes, I am a bit upset that they didn't carve in the damages, I understand why they couldn't, otherwise people in the UK couldn't get their hands on this figure. So yeah, overall, what do I think of the Withers? Were they given justice? Yes, however, some of them could definitely use a re-release and get like updated features to them, especially being Foxy and Withered Bonnie. Foxy, they should release a USA version where it just has the carved damages all in them. And then Withered Bonnie, I think, needs to be redone entirely. However, Withered Freddy and Chica, I think, are perfect. But if they want to, they can add in some wires and call it a day as a re-release. So how I would rank them: first would be Chica, second would be Freddy, third would be Foxy, and last, unfortunately, would be Withered Bonnie. So yeah, do I think that these are worth picking up? Now, all of them, I bought them at retail price. I'm one of the lucky ones to actually manage to buy these figures when they were released on Jazwares' shitty website. But yeah, I think they're definitely worth picking up and customizing. If you just customize them a bit, I think they will look perfect. However, at scalper's price, don't pay at scalper's price. Those scumbags don't deserve your money. And yeah, I've seen the prices these figures can go for, and it is really shocking that this is happening to the Fnaf community. And yeah, it's just sad that these figures are getting scalped to hell, because while yes, they are good, I don't think it's worth selling your organs over. So yeah, definitely buy them at retail price. Don't give in to scalper's price unless it's like $5 more or $10 more. That's at most how much more I would pay. But yeah, that's the end of the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, please comment in the comment section down below how I can improve on my videos. But until next time, goodbye and have a nice day. Bye bye.